Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that is regarding how to heal from leaving a toxic job. For those who do not know, I walked away from a 175K job this past spring. I was offered a severance package and I chose to leave the company rather than searching for another job internally. And there were several reasons why I left, and I'll just start off by saying one, I was moved to a different role and team than what I was originally hired for, so that made a big difference. Two, the team that I was on had a very dominant alpha male who basically, um, when it came to females, he didn't have much respect for us on the team. It was his domain, his territory. He was right, and if you question it, there could be consequences. And unfortunately, for me, I did have some questions. I raised some concerns. And even though I was told that was what was expected at my level, it wasn't the response that I received back that was favorable. So at the end of last year, like last December, I started to sense that I may be targeted for either a layoff or firing or something. I just had that feeling, and I was right because the team reorged. We received a new manager in February, and one of the first things she was assigned to do was to put me on a performance improvement plan. Never in my career have I been on a performance improvement plan. Know what they are. I've used them as a tool in the past to help employees to get motivated and help them get on the right track in their role. But this tool was clearly being used for me, for against me to get me to exit the company. So even though it was a company I had planned to stay at through retirement, it wasn't going to work out that way for me. So that happened in February. And I made a decision after looking over the severance package that I would exit in April. So, and I did it for many reasons. One, that environment with that alpha male on the team was very toxic. And I knew I had to leave that environment for my health's sake. It was taking a significant toll on my health. So I wanted to talk to you about some of the reasons that I decided, how I decided to heal. I wanted to talk to you about how I decided to heal from leaving a toxic work environment. So I would say, first and foremost, leaving any job is not easy, especially if you worked all your career to get to a certain level, a certain point. Um, this job was something, like I said, I planned to retire from. So after I left in February, I was definitely depressed because I felt like a failure. I felt like I let my family down, and there was something I could have did better. I reviewed the performance improvement plan, even though mentally I was like, none of that is true. But I started to internalize some of the things that was written about me, which I knew were absolutely false. So I let that get internal. So the first thing I had to do was to really heal my mind. And how I did that, I went to the Word. I had to go to the Word. Um, that was something for me that I used. Um, I just had to get up every morning, even though I knew I was depressed, sad, had plenty of times that I cried. I had to get up and read scriptures, and read the Bible, to ask God, God, get me through this, take this from me. I knew I had did everything possible on that job to be a good employee. I did not deserve this, but this is where I am. So I know you, God, have something for me. You have something here for me that I may not understand at the moment, and I'm getting emotional just by talking about it. But that's what I had to keep saying. God, walk me through this process. Walk me through where you want me to be in this next chapter of my life. So, Psalms 23, Psalms 91. Um, I lived in Psalms, for the first 6 weeks just to get my mental state where it needed to be. That was the first thing that I did that really, really helped me as I was detoxing from leaving a toxic work environment. The next thing I did was I began to look at my skills and what I did and what I could bring to the table. So I just said, I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I can and cannot do, try to define me. I'm not going to believe the lies that they were telling about me. So, what I chose to do was to start my own business. I was always a realtor, but I also wanted to um, help other women who are in the tech field or in the corporate world as well, to coach them on how they could, if they're going to choose to stay in that environment. And many of these environments, especially post COVID, are very toxic. Most of these companies, they're asking a lot of their employees, um, and they're expecting a lot. I brought home work every weekend. I worked 7 days a week. I had apps on my phone. I answered email. There was no days off. That is the new expectations of workers today, especially if you're working in a corporate environment and you're making six figures and beyond. You're expected to do that without no problem, no hesitation. So, what I said is, if I can work 7 days a week and for somebody else, then Michelle, you can do this for yourself. So what I did was I started a company called She Leads Digital Consulting. Still working to get that company off the ground, but it was a step in the right direction for me. It was also to let me know that you can do this, that you have it within you to do what somebody else said you're not good enough to do here at this job. I would never, ever allow anyone to define what I can and cannot do, because I know God has given me these talents and I can take them out there to the world and make more money than I ever made at my last job. So that's the next step. I said, okay, two can play that game. I can start my own company. That was so simple to do. Did it, still working on it. More to come on that later. The next thing I did was I focused on learning something new. I said, I've got all the time. Now I can learn what I want to learn, not things specific to a role in a company. I can learn what I want to learn now. One of the things I did is I got on Udemy, and I learned a several new skills or in classes that I've been wanting to take, have been putting them off. They were not related to what I was doing in the corporate world. So that was one of the things that I did. Learning YouTube. I've been on Facebook for years. Really only looked up things on YouTube when I was, had home based projects. So I took the time to learn something new. If you take nothing else away from this video, I want you to take this. It's not over until God says it's over. Number two, you are not who they say you are. You are who God says you are. Number three, you can do what you know how to do, one foot in front of the other. You got this. I believe in you. I want you to believe in yourself. I know you're well able and well capable of healing from any and every toxic environment that you have encountered. I want you to grab hold of your faith, grab hold to your beliefs, and move on to a new chapter that I know is greater than your last chapter. I hope this video has helped you know that the best is yet to come.